Welcome everyone. I'm Mariquita Solis, the live stream host of all-creatures.org. All-creatures.org was founded in 1998 by Pastor Frank Hoffman and his first wife Mary, and launched as a pioneer website in the United States for faith-based animal rights veganism. Today, led by our executive director, Tams Nicholson, we exist for all people seeking current animal rights vegan resources and offer decades of free animal rights and vegan content, including a huge repository of vegan sermons and Bible commentaries, animal rights strategies, free vegan authored books, recipes, upcoming events around the world, and the works of various vegan authors, poets, and artists. We host current sites for almost 20 vegan and animal rights organizations, including Stop Crushed, Unparalleled Suffering, and the Committee to Abolish Sports Hunting. We also maintain nearly 25 archival sites from animal rights vegan activism of past decades. The bottom line is that we work to unite compassionate and empathetic humans across the globe from the past and the present who honor the dignity of each and every living creature so that all beings thrive on a flourishing planet Earth. So welcome to our Christmas special. I'm excited to be with you here, and let's share some inspiration. All right, the holiday time is here, and I'm in the midst of it, and it has been, well, one thing after another, and I've had to really remember to stay grounded and to take some deep breaths and not to be judgmental of myself during this holiday time, and to be mindful about life and what the holidays really are about. So I'd like to just tell you a little bit of what I've been going through during the holiday time. I had a car issue where my car was leaking, and it turned out to be the radiator. And I ended up on the side of the road calling my boyfriend to come and get me, and sitting there freaking out as my car was overheating, and I was scared. I didn't know what was going on. And so that was more than a week ago. I mean, maybe, a little more than, it was almost a week and a half ago. And I thought, well, we'll get this taken care of. Well, it turns out that it's really not, it's going to be worth more to take care of it. My car is 2005, so RAV4. And I've had to allow myself to be ready to let go of this car that's given me so much love. And I would always thank my car. Thank you so much, and thank you for being so good to me, and I appreciate you, and I love you. And so it's become a challenge to embrace the process of newness, because here it is, a hectic time, and this is the last thing I've needed to deal with. But nevertheless, this is a good grounding and a good mindful experience in the midst of the Christmas holidays. It really threw me off course. So that's one thing that has really brought me back into perspective what Christmas time really is, and the feeling of, oh my gosh, I haven't gotten the gifts, I don't know what I'm going to get people, and then having to realize it's not about that. Christmas isn't about what gifts, and is it the perfect gift, and is it expensive enough, or what are they going to get me, is it going to match them? But Christmas is about love and joy and family, and knowing that when your car breaks down, that you have a support system, your family members, and your loved ones come and help, and everyone steps up, and that's the true meaning of Christmas, helping each other, service. So it was all for a reason. Everything does happen to provide a lesson in life, and we can learn from the lesson, or we can put our heads in the sand, or we can also get angry, or we can get frustrated. And those are, of course, relevant emotions. And to feel those, I felt anger, I felt sadness, but not to be stuck in them. So I've had some good lessons this Christmas holiday season. And here we are on Christmas Eve, and I'm taking some deep breaths and just allowing and trusting that everything is fine, all is well. So I'd like to start off with a little prayer. So I just invite you to close your eyes and remember that we're sitting in this beautiful season of giving, of service, of love, enlightenment, of beauty, of peace. And just holding these in your heart as we give thanks to God for all of our blessings, for the tiny drops of rain that nourish our soil, from the earthworms to the earthworms that live underneath the ground, to the beautiful bluebirds in the sky singing their songs, to the dolphins frolicking in the sea, holding all these beautiful beings in our hearts as we give thanks to you, God, for making them part of our life, for allowing them to be our brothers and sisters. We give thanks for the trees. We give thanks for every little flower, God, that you have given us, for the rainbows and the light that directs our soul, the light inside of us that is always connected to you, God. We give thanks during this Christmas season for the beauty of life. Just holding this beautiful energy in our hearts, God, we always remember we are your children, and we are so thankful. Amen. All right, so thank you so much for joining me in that prayer. Now, let me tell you a funny thing. I thought about this Christmas Eve session, and I have now done this twice before because there were all sorts of technical issues. And that's another lesson in patience, right? Patience and frustration and just intuition, right? Does it feel right? So this is going to be a very interesting live stream, as this is going to be my third go around with this, the what I want to say. And it's, for some reason, it seemed like the first one seemed very scripted. I mean, I know what I want to say, but I do have notes, and I don't want it to look like I'm reading off the notes. There's a couple of stories that I am going to be looking at notes, so because I want to make sure that I give you the best of what is in my heart, and so I don't want to forget anything. So, nevertheless, here we are. Let's just call this the third take of this Christmas live stream. I'm going to be with my family this afternoon, my loved ones, my boyfriend's family, and so that's going to be very interesting. They have two little ones, and we have my dog Louie, and then my boyfriend has a cat, and so I'm going to be trying to keep those animals safe from the little ones, and so that will be a very, let's just say, exuberant Christmas celebration tonight. And then tomorrow will be more of a quiet one with my brother, his girlfriend, and my boyfriend again. But that's going to be more of no children. And children are beautiful, but it's going to be, the level will be a different energy. So it'll be interesting, though, to see the little ones opening their presents tonight. There's one that's 1 year old, and there's one that's 3. So I haven't seen that in a long time. So, I'm not around little children very much, but so I'm looking forward to it. So let's talk about the Christmas story, and I really want to focus on the animals in this beautiful story. So let's see here. the first animal I would like to talk about is the donkey. And the donkey is an animal that we usually think about when we think about Mary's journey into Bethlehem. And the donkey was carrying a big load with Mary and all of her provisions for the baby Jesus. And this was a long journey that the donkey had to take. And it was not necessarily a safe journey. They were really fleeing for their lives and wanted to have a safe place. So isn't it beautiful that they trusted this little donkey to guide them and lead them as they followed their route to Bethlehem, as they joined together with the donkey in the essence of this journey moving forward. As the donkey carried the burdens, a heavy load like the burdens, which is symbolic of the burdens of Jesus. And Mary also carrying burdens throughout her life. The burden of the heavy load of knowing her son was going to be put to death. So there's a lot of symbolism here on this route to Bethlehem with the donkey, who is very humble and serving, a beautiful representation of diligence, quietness, moving forward. But that's not all the donkey is. And I say this because I went to, I think it was Full Circle, well, I don't know, Full Farm Circle, that's not right, but all right, my brain has just gone, like my circuits have haywired. Full Circle Sanctuary. I think that's it. Full Circle Sanctuary. So I went there for Thanksgiving a few years ago, and I saw some donkeys, and boy, were they so cute. They were so inquisitive, but they were so funny, and that they came towards me with joy and with a warmth, and like they were my best friends. So I loved that about the donkeys, such curiosity. How beautiful that is. So while the donkeys represent humility and carrying burdens and service, they also have another side, of course, that is fun and playful and warm and welcoming. And that's what the donkeys that I met made me feel welcome. And so as vegans, we also carry a heavy burden, knowing what we know, and it can take a toll on us. So we have to take care of ourselves, and we have to remember and acknowledge that we are doing great work, and to have compassion for ourselves and know that it is hard to carry the burden, right? This is a challenge to know what we know and to really be a voice for our animal brothers and sisters. So, acknowledging that we are like the donkey and we are like Jesus carrying that heavy burden, and yet we can laugh and we can be joyful at the same time. I mean, we can, in our lives, we don't want to shut out joy. We want joy to be part of our lives. We want laughter to be part of our lives. So if you haven't been to an animal sanctuary to see a donkey, I encourage that you do go meet one up close. All right, so the next animal I'd like to talk about is the ox. Now, the ox in the Christmas story was in the stable. There were oxen in the stable, and they were very stable, right? Stability, strength, right? When I think of oxen, I think of an animal grounded to Mother Earth, strong and majestic, that majestic energy of strength. And so how do we ground ourselves as vegans, where we're not getting flustered, where we're not getting upset if someone asks us, where do you get your protein, right? Or says, I could never be vegan, right? How can we be grounded like the ox in strength and in confidence, quiet confidence? Because when I think of an ox, I think of an animal that is very poised. I don't think of an animal that's like swinging through the trees like the chimpanzees, the monkeys, or I think of an animal that's quiet and still, but yet strong and confident with a very powerful energy. How do we get that energy? How can we tune into the oxen's energy? That's the question. So believing in ourselves, we have to have a foundation that we believe in ourselves, that we are beautiful and that we are strong and that we matter, that we are here for a reason, that our life has a purpose, and we are making a difference in this life with every choice, every food choice, every action that we take makes a difference, right? And we are very awake in the fact that we are awakened to what goes on in this world with the animals. And we have made decisions that others have not made. And we are change makers. We are leaders. Leaders on our planet, healing our planet, healing Mother Earth, right? We are healing, of course. We're helping animals. So remember that we are like the oxen, strong and steadfast, right? Tune into that oxen energy when you're feeling downtrodden. Just sit quietly and think about that oxen who's very grounded, and call yourself back to that energy. And I think about the oxen being on Mother Earth, the soil of Mother Earth. And we must remember that we have to ground ourselves to Mother Earth. It's essential that we go out and we put our hands in the soil. We take off our shoes. We feel that soil. And that sends energy through our bodies because Mother Earth is our lifeline. So, how can we get back to the oxen energy? I would love to hear your comments in the chat, how you see yourself as an ox, or how you see yourself as a donkey, right? How is this relevant to your life? I should have said that sooner, right? Please put in the chat, because I'm very curious if this is resonating with you all. And also make sure you subscribe and like. Please hit like. So the sheep was in the stable as well. The sheep and the lambs. And the sheep represents innocence, purity, a quietness, a stillness, right? A beauty. So the Lamb of God, there's the symbolism right there. Jesus, and we all have heard this most likely, Jesus being represented, Jesus is said to be the Lamb of God. So how can we call ourselves back to that innocence, that purity, that vulnerability? Now, the sheep were very vulnerable. They needed the good shepherd to watch over them, to take care of them, to protect them. They had to trust in the shepherd to protect them because of the wolves, of the predators that wanted to come and get them. So it's the sheep are representing beautiful, vulnerable beings that had to establish a beautiful connection of trust with the shepherd, right? Trusting someone and having that beautiful relationship with the other being. A symbiotic relationship of love and working together. So this is something we can learn from the sheep. How to be vulnerable, how to trust others, how to be in community. The sheep were in community, working together with each other. And I think about the sheepdogs, the sheep, the Australian shepherds, and what's the other dog? Well, the blue heeler. Are they sheepdogs? Are they cattle dogs? The Australian cattle dog. And how, wow, they really work also. They are like the good shepherd protecting their sheep, working together. The sheep watch the dog, right? They follow the dog's lead. So how important that is. How important it is that we have our community and that we have leaders and that we work with our leaders, right? We trust in our leaders. We speak up to our leaders. We're vulnerable with our leaders. We have faith in our leaders, right? And we stand together in a community of strength like the sheep do. So that is the lesson to be learned from the sheep. The strong community, the innocence, the vulnerability, the trusting. And as vegans, we really need each other. We can't do it by ourselves. We need each other emotionally, and we need each other to come together. So I've been at many protests, and it's wonderful when we all come together as a unit, and it really gives me strength, and I feel happy. It's a joyful occasion for me to be with my friends and to do a protest. So, for example, being at, well, I'll say the water prison is what we call it. Doing a protest, but the unity is beautiful. Knowing that I have friends that are there and we're speaking up for animals, and knowing it makes a difference. Because I'll tell you that when we went to do that the last time, there was a lady and her grandson that came over and spoke with us. And they ended up holding up signs too and joining our protest, which was beautiful. So the unity of coming together and presenting a strong force, a strong union is so important. And that's what the sheep represent. Community, strength, innocence, love. So remember that as you go out in the holiday season. Who is your community? Who's your tribe? Let's give thanks for our tribes, right? Who are your people? Someone said the other day, well, I know that those are my people. They're my people. And it made me think, who are my people? And instantly, I had the answer. So think about that. Put in the comments, who are your people, right? Who holds you up? Who are your leaders that you look to for strength? Let's just give them a shout out. Now let's talk about the camel. The camel is an animal of just amazing power. And when I say power, the ability to endure these harsh temperatures, to be able to go without water because of the water stored inside the camel and the food that's stored inside the camel. And now that's a very strange way of saying it, but that the camel has the capacity to store these beautiful living food and water inside of their body so that they can go long distances is amazing. So they have set up their bodies in advance for these long journeys. So how can we set up in our lives our spiritual bank account for the long journey, for the long haul. So what that means is, how do we get ready for the challenges, these long journeys, like the camel prepares? Like the camel is very deliberate, and they know they're going to go, so they're ready. They are very mindful in their steps on the journey of life. We know we're going to have challenges, so what are we going to do to get ready for these challenges? Are we going to pray? Have a daily prayer routine or daily meditation routine? Are we going to exercise? Are we going to laugh? Now, all these things are foundational for good mental health and to be able to handle the challenges of life. When the challenges occur, we don't want to be scrambling, right? We don't want to be saying, oh my gosh, I don't know how to pray, I don't know how to meditate, I don't know how to exercise, I don't know how to connect with the ground or Mother Earth. We want to set that up in place. Like the camel has the foundation for the long hauls, we need to get the foundation for the long haul also by taking care of ourselves. Because there are always challenges in life. I found those out at this Christmas. With the car breaking down on the side of the road, right? Luckily, not just luckily, but I was very blessed to have blankets in the car, one big blanket and one smaller blanket that my dog had. And I had on my long underwear. It was a cold day. I had on my long underwear, I had on my jacket, I had my hat and my gloves. So that was the foundation that I had already set up for myself. So if I had broken down and I thought, now I'm going to try to run around outside of the car and look for blankets and look for hats and look for gloves. No, you have to set the foundation up in advance, right? So on your spiritual journey, you have to set your foundation up in advance, like the camel. Of the long endurance of the journey. We don't know what's coming. So we need to be ready spiritually. Invest in that spiritual bank account every day, right? What works for you? Is it prayers? Is it meditation? What is it? Is it giving thanks for your family and being mindful of your blessings for your heart, for your lungs, that your heart's beating, you don't have to ask her, and giving thanks to God. How do you set up your spiritual bank account? So put that in the comments. I'd love to hear that. Like the camel. And trusting your intuition. How do you trust your intuition in life? When I was in New Mexico, I lived there for 12 years and I loved it. I had one of my best friends who has since passed away. I had to leave him, and it was very difficult leaving him. I loved him so much, and I had no idea that I was not going to be able to see him again. I did see him once. He came here, and then I was going to go see him. I was in days of getting on the plane to visit him, and we were going to go to Chaco Canyon, and he passed away. He didn't pass away. COVID hit, and I couldn't get on the plane. And then, like the next year, he passed away. So it was very upsetting. But so there was a lot of conflict when I was thinking, what's going on with my life, right? I was in New Mexico. I was happy. I had good friends. Well, I lost my job, which caused me to have to stop going. I didn't have the flexibility to continue on with school, and the school program was shutting down. So all this seems to be tumbling down at once. And I thought, I really, in some ways, wish I had my family. Wish I was closer to my brother and my father. And so I started thinking about that and moving back home and to the South. And after giving it a lot of thought, I decided, yes, I was going to see what I could do with my house and move back. Well, everything fell into place. And this was a process of trusting my own intuition, right? I had a feeling inside of myself that I needed to go back home to my family. And my brother was in the Atlanta area. My sister is close by, and my father. was here a lot at that time. So I did go along. Went along with my intuition. I cried a lot of tears, saying goodbye to my friends in Albuquerque. But I came back, and I'll tell you, it was the best thing, because my father ended up having major surgery, and I had to go help my brother. And there was no way I could have just gotten up and left my home in Albuquerque very quickly to come and help my brother for months and months and months while my father recovered. And so I trusted my intuition, and beautiful things happened along the way, right? His recovery, he had I think it was a bleeding ulcer, is what happened, and it ruptured. So he ended up going to rehab, and in rehab there was a there was a gentleman there who was also in the rehab center, and he was only in there probably for about a week, and he was hating every minute of it. Anyway, there was the cutest man, and he was always full of smiles and laughter. And one day he came up to me, and he handed me a little package, and it was a mustard seed. And how beautiful that was, the mustard seed representing the tiniest bit of faith. With the tiniest bit of faith, things can happen, right? That tiny seed can grow into this mountain of faith. And how beautiful that is, especially during this Christmas season. And I should have gotten let me look up that. If you'll give me 1 second, I'm going to look up the mustard seed passage in the Bible. I wish I had studied theology, but I did not. So, here we go. In fact, I didn't even take that. No, maybe I did take religion in college. I'm not sure. But here it is. All right. Matthew 17:20-21. Jesus says that if you have faith the size of a mustard seed, you can move mountains. And that's what this Christmas season is about, faith. It was the renewal of faith with a new season with the birth of Jesus, right? The smallest demonstration of faith can have an impact. It can also be seen, and this is from the internet, as a promise that our faith will grow and have a transformative effect. So, how beautiful that is. And I can keep reading, but I think we understand what this is. I mean, the mustard seed. So, hold the faith that all is well. We're in the Christmas season. God is working behind the scenes for our lives, right? Like the good shepherd taking care of us. So all is well. So now I'd like to talk about the little drummer boy. And this story really touches my heart every year. In fact, I can't get through the little TV program without crying. So I encourage you to watch it. But make sure you have your tissue with you, because the little drummer boy starts out angry and full of sadness. His family was killed, and all he had was his animals, which is a lot. So his little lamb ended up getting hit. I hope this isn't a spoiler, but anyway, I'm just going to go ahead and tell the story. It's not going to spoil anything if you watch it, because it'll be newness. So, and so the little drummer boy went to the kings. I mean, he saw the kings, and there was a lot more to it. I'm just going to summarize it very quickly. But he asked the kings, the three kings that were there with Jesus, help me, my lamb has been hit and she's going to die. And the king said, there's nothing I can do, but there is another king that can help you. And he pointed to the baby Jesus. And then he saw that the kings had brought their gifts, and what beautiful gifts of frankincense, myrrh, and gold. And he said he didn't have anything, and he cried, and he felt sadness and a shame that he didn't have anything for the baby. But what he did have was the beautiful gift of song. And there's nothing that is more loving than a gift from your heart. And that's what the little drummer boy had, a gift from his heart, the gift of music. And that touches souls. The gift of music is something that is just rippling out to all of the universe. And that's what this little boy gave. So what a blessing that was, that he did that. And in this story, we see this little drummer boy who's very humble, who isn't able to see the beauty of his own gift, which is the talent of being an amazing little musician, and how beautiful it is for him to speak up for his little lamb, the compassion that he had and the great love that he had for his little lamb. I mean, the caretaking, the service, right? The service, humility, all these beautiful gifts that this little drummer boy had and didn't even see. So as we look at this little drummer boy, what are the gifts that you have? Please put those in the comments. What are your gifts to bring to the world? I mean, for a long time, I didn't want to shine. I didn't want to share my gifts. I thought I didn't have any gifts. I couldn't see my gifts. And that's what's going on with the little drummer boy. He can't see his beauty. And oh my goodness, his beauty is it's such a bright light. His beauty makes me cry because it's so beautiful, but yet he couldn't see it. So I encourage you to put your gifts in the chat. What are your gifts? Right? My gift is being an optimist, being able to see the bright light or the tiniest light in every situation. So as you think with compassion, think with curiosity, and not necessarily think, but feel from your heart. What are your gifts to share with the world, right? And as we're in this Christmas season, what does the Christmas season really represent, And we're circling back to this, to breaking out of this materialistic part of Christmas where we have to get the right present, where we have to try to match the amount and how much am I going to spend? And, are they going to like it? Instead of giving something from our hearts, right? And that's the shift that I'm asking us all to make in this upcoming year, to really be focused on the feelings of Christmas spirit, right? And not on the materialism. And so I'm not saying that it's not wonderful to get presents and give presents. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that let that spiritual, heartfelt connection between people be the essence of the holiday. Really watch and feel that joy and that connection that your family and loved ones share with you. And that's the real blessing of it. It's not really the gifts, the materialistic gifts. When you're giving a gift from your heart, like the little drummer boy, that's the most beautiful gift that you can give, is a gift from the heart. And so I have a friend of mine that I think she might be in her 80s, and every year she writes letters to her friends and her loved ones. And she wrote me the most beautiful letter, and I can't read it without the tissue. And that means more to me. That's just such now, not to put any of the other gifts to the side or make comparison, but that is a true gift from the heart, and it really touches every cell in my body, my whole being, that love that she shared from her heart. So that's just an example. So really think about that as we're opening the presents, as you're in the hustle and bustle of the holiday spirit. Remember to breathe in the essence of family and friendship and the love that is surrounding you, because that's the true spirit, right? It's not really about these presents and how much was spent or what you got. It's really something more, like that humble little drummer boy, that quiet gift to the world. So now I'd like to talk about the symbolism of the Christmas story and other traditions. In the Native American tradition, there's a story, and I'd like to go ahead and read that. Let me get it here if I can read it to you. This is a Cherokee creation story, and it is excerpted from Cherokee Heritage Trails Guidebook. And it looks like it's the credit goes to Swimmer Ayuini. So let me read this to you. The earth is a great island floating in a sea of water, and suspended at each of the cardinal points by a cord hanging down from the sky vault. When the world grows old and worn out, the people will die and the cords will break, and let the earth sink down into the ocean, and all will be water again. We are afraid of this. When all was water, the animals were above in Galunlati, the sky arch, but it was very crowded and they were wanting more room. They wondered what was beyond the water. And at last, Daiun Ishi, Beaver's grandchild, the little water beetle, offered to go and see if it could learn. It darted about in every direction over the surface of the water, but could find no place to rest. Then it dived to the bottom and came up with some soft mud, which began to grow and spread on every side until it became the island which we call Earth. It was afterwards fastened to the sky with 4 cords, but no one remembers who did this. At first the earth was flat and very soft and wet. The animals were anxious to get down. At last they sent the buzzard and told him to go and make ready for them. This was the great buzzard, the father of the buzzards we see now. He flew all over the earth, low down near the ground, and it was still soft. When he reached the Cherokee County, he was very tired, and his wings began to flap and strike the ground. And whenever they struck the ground, there was a valley. And where they turned up again was a mountain. When the animals above saw this, they were afraid that the whole world would be mountains, so they called him back. But the Cherokee country remains full of mountains to this day. So, as we look at this story, we see that both of the stories are talking about creation and new beginnings in the Christmas story and in this Cherokee story, right? And the earth, in the Cherokee story, the earth is created from the depths of the water. And in the birth of Jesus story, where it's talking about bringing hope and redemption to humanity. So, in both of these stories also, the animals play a significant role. The water beetle and the buzzard actively participate in shaping the world. And in the Christmas story, the animals like the donkey and the ox are there holding the scene, right? Holding the energy of love, of strength, of compassion, of service, right? Of carrying the burdens, right? This humility and this connection for the animals and the people to the natural world is showing up in both of these stories. And in both of these stories also there is a sense of a divine guidance, right? Like in the Christmas story, there's the star. And in the Cherokee story, the animals provide the means for the earth's creation. So there's a lot of things going on in both stories that are relatable to each other. So I'm looking at my notes, so bear with me, y'all, because I don't want to forget. Now, we also have in the Buddhist tradition the story of Siddhartha. Now, I don't know if y'all have read that book, But Siddhartha was a young man, and he was searching also for the true enlightenment. And enlightenment is, to me, is that star, the star of Bethlehem, right? And go searching for that star of how to get there, right? Well, Siddhartha was looking for that too. And he went and he studied and he learned how to be quiet. He sat by the river. But then he also was shifted into a period of materialism where he went and became a very wealthy man. And he realized that something was missing. This wasn't it. So he went back to the quietness. And he ultimately learned that allowing and not trying to force and look, but just to feel and let life be. Just to let things be and to allow and observe. Not to force, not to be in desperation, but to allow the quietness of life to be revealed. The humility, that's back to humility and service. So, in the Hindu tradition also, there's the seva, and that's selfless service, giving back to community. So, volunteering for the greater good. And that's, again, back to humility. And that's what the Christmas story is about. That's what Jesus is about. Humility, quietness, right? So in these other traditions, they're overlapping with the same message as the Christian tradition, as the Christmas story. Okay, as we close our time together, I would just encourage you to take this Christmas season, this holiday season, this new year that we're coming up on, and reflect about what are your unique gifts to the world. Feel this in your heart. Feel it from a place of compassion. What are my gifts to the world? And just listen for the answer. And the answer doesn't have to come right away. Just be open to hearing the answer during this holiday season. And once you get the answer, think about how you can share and how you can give back these gifts to the world. Because your gift is beautiful, right? And let the world know you have that gift. You weren't given that gift to just hide it away. You were given that gift to share it to the world. Now, it doesn't have to be in a conceited fashion. It can be by saying, God gave me this beautiful gift and I'm so humbled to receive. It's not me, it's God, or it's not me, it's the universe, right? And so I'm the blessed one to have it, and I'm so blessed, and I want to give it back. So just be with yourself and love yourself from a place of compassion during this holiday season. And I would like to close this with a little meditation. So I invite you to close your eyes, and I have a special one for you. So if you'll close your eyes and just sit quietly and just breathe in. Breathing in quietly and deeply, down into your hips, into your legs, and into the soles of your feet. And now imagine yourself standing in a dimly lit stable. The air is filled with the sweet scent of hay and the soft sounds of animals. A gentle light illuminates the scene, casting a peaceful glow. In the center of the stable, you see the Holy Family, surrounded by a humble donkey, a strong ox, a gentle sheep, and a wise camel. Focus your attention on each animal. Feel the donkey's patient spirit as they stand nearby, their gentle eyes filled with wisdom. Connect with the ox's strength and stability. their powerful presence a source of warmth and protection. Embrace the sheep's innocence and trust, their soft gaze filled with peace. And let the wise camel inspire you with their resilience and endurance. Now imagine the little drummer boy standing nearby, his face lit with joy as he plays a simple melody on his drum. Feel the power of his music, a gift offered with love and humility. As you connect with these symbols of Christmas, let their energy flow through you. Embrace the qualities of humility, strength, innocence, wisdom, love, and perseverance. May these qualities guide you on your spiritual journey. Imagine yourself offering your unique gifts to the world, just as the little drummer boy did. Let go of any self-doubt or fear and share your talents to the world in this new year. Just breathing in this beautiful energy of all of our animal companions, of the little drummer boy, all the wisdom of the season, and the blessed gift of you. Breathing in this beautiful energy of community and love. And taking a few more deep breaths, allowing the peace and love of the Christmas spirit to settle within you. And when you're ready, gently opening your eyes. Thank you so much for being with me during this Christmas season. And I look forward to the exciting newness of 2025 and the new guests that I'll be having on the live stream. So may you be blessed. My heart is with you, and I give thanks for you and for me and for all of our beautiful joy and wisdom in our hearts. Thank you.